How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So I spoke to Gabriel earlier this morning, and you guys continue to be safe and healthy.
Yes,
Um,
we do. Sorry,
okay.
I'm gonna put this. Actually, I'm not sure if the speaker's gonna work too well.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Take your time.
uh,
It's gonna be tough to hear. I'm gonna be as loud as I can, so you can hopefully hear me over the ocean waves there.
yeah, it's
um,
really bad. I think I'm just have to like sit with it kind of close to me because
okay. So we're gonna be in your grill.
I guess so.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Yes.
This damn ocean's wild today.
Yeah. I've been seeing some of your videos lately. So you guys are safe. You're healthy. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Oh yeah, we're very
so
healthy. We're kind of like a little hub here in this in our neighborhood. Sorry, I'm just trying to like figure out if I
the
can
best way
like
to set it up. Take your time. Take your
yeah make
time.
this work
Yeah.
somehow.
hmm
Um, yeah, I didn't. I mean, yeah, I didn't expect the ocean. It got a bit wilder as the days gone on.
We can hear you clearly, so that's a good start.
Yeah, that's a good part. But
And also for the viewers chiming in, if you guys have questions,
hold on, I gotta find something to sit on. Sorry.
yeah, take your time. For the viewers, as we set up, if you have any questions that you want to ask Angela, go ahead and chime in, and we'll have a question and answer session as she gets her nice bag to sit on. Many of you
All
haven't
right.
been to the boxing gym. It's a really cool venue. You need to go visit. It's always an open door with Angela and Gabriel. So we have Angela Magana,
Okay,
veteran
I think I'm good now. I think.
veteran fighter. You're all
Yeah.
set? Okay, awesome. So again, Angela Magana, veteran fighter who's fought in many different promotions, all the way as high as the UFC and Rising, which is truly commendable and impressive. She has a vast background in mixed martial arts, and we're happy to have you join us today.
All right. Thank you. Hey, hold on just a second. I'm asking the kids to do something. Hey,
Yep.
the earphones are in my UFC bag, I believe, from my last trip. Trying to get some phone.
Yeah, much be a lot easier to hear. I can hear you pretty well, so as
I'm
long
just
as you
not
can
used
hear
to
me.
like. I don't even really take my phone usually when I leave the house. That's been an adjustment
Yeah,
lately.
for sure. So, well, we obviously know today how important it is to you. We're going to get into that a little bit down the way. So, I'm going to let you obviously discuss what transpired a year ago, and we'll talk more about that in depth a little bit down the way. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever you.
Okay. So we'll start off, Angela, and we'll share. I'd like to hear about your background, where you were born, and your upbringing and family life growing up.
Oh, okay. So, I was raised in Los Angeles most of my life. I was born there. Actually, born addicted to heroin. My mom was an addict. She ended up dying when I was 17 of an overdose. We still had a pretty close relationship, even though my grandparents ended up taking care of me really most from like the age of 6, 7 on 8, pretty much full time for a lot
Wow.
most of it. Um, so yeah, I lived in California most of my life, or most of my younger life, and then my grandparents had moved out to New Mexico in the Four Corners, and I went with them.
Okay.
I lived out there, and I ended up joining the boxing team, or not a boxing team, a boxing gym, which is actually my friend Nico Montano. She's a UFC champ from the 125, their first champion. Her father was my first boxing coach, but I also did
Wow.
wrestling in school.
Okay.
So I was kind of like doing MMA before there was really MMA. I mean, and then I found my coach Floyd Sword, who also has fought in the UFC. He's one of Greg Jackson's first black belts. He, I've always knew him from the boxing gym, from Frankie's gym, and
Okay.
I ended up like catching him, like seeing him later on in life. And I was at a different boxing gym, this place ended up being a front for laundering drug money, whatever.
Wow.
Anyways, he ended up going there too because it was the only place in this little town that had boxing bags. And they ended up kicking me out because I started training this jujitsu with these other people. Floyd Sword, Joey Villasenor, he's a big veteran of the sport too.
Okay.
Um, and you know, ever since I was like, I think like 14, I've been training MMA off and on with a man named Floyd Sword, who I owe everything to.
Wow. So that's a
Yeah.
lot in a small period of time. So your
Oh my
first,
God, so much.
yeah, your first time walking into a gym was actually at what age, you would
I
say?
think I was 13 walking into a boxing gym.
Wow. Okay.
It was my friend, it was Nico Montano's father, Frankie. He was a
Right.
professional boxer.
Okay. Wow. I didn't even know that her father was a pro boxer. Interesting.
Yeah,
So,
and then it was really interesting because I remember she was just this like his little daughter, because she's 31, I'll be 30, so she's like 6 years younger than me. So I
yeah.
remember this. So that's quite a bit younger when you're a kid. And I
Yeah.
remember like her being a young girl. I remember him like having a daughter that lived on the reservation
Wow.
in Arizona. And I remember him telling me the name of the town she lived in, and I thought he was joking with me because it was called Lukachukai, Arizona. The way they say it, I can't say. I say it like a Billigana, a white person. They say. But it's like Lukachukai. Like it's very guttural. It's really cool their language, the Navajo language. But
Okay.
I remember thinking he was joking with me. So I remember seeing his daughter, and he ended up dying when she was, I think she was like 13. And then I remember seeing her at the funeral, and she was in the funeral. And then it just so happened she went to school in Durango, Colorado. And we
Wow.
always have like, that's one of our sister schools is Durango Martial Arts in Durango, Colorado.
Okay.
And so she ended up training in that gym and ended up coming to my gym. And one day I walked in the gym and my coach was like, Frankie's daughter's here. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then I actually made her start training with me. Like she was doing gi and jiu-jitsu, but I made her start sparring and doing MMA. I was like really pressuring her and like would start punching her in certain positions, just playfully, you know.
Right.
And I got her. I really kind of pressured her to start doing it. So
Wow.
yeah, it's kind of a funny story.
Interesting
She
how
actually
that came together.
she's gonna come on the show soon. Hopefully
Yeah.
next weekend. She's in Alaska right now and has really bad
Okay.
service. So
Yeah.
we're gonna try to work out those details so she can be on next week with you.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Love to have her and join and hear her story as well. And
Yeah.
obviously, it's a big part of your story. You guys know each other for a long time, both veterans in the UFC, and that's people don't understand. And just talking to Nelson earlier this morning, and him fighting on a DAZN Golden Boy card, and obviously speaking with Arturo Gatti Jr. last week, and some of the fights he was able to go to as a young boy, and they showed me actually, and he chimed in. By the way, he said hello. We
Oh
had our
yeah, that's
we had
awesome.
our we had
I'm
our
such a
Turo.
fan of his father, man. Those
Yeah,
Ward and Gotti battles are some of the most epic battles you ever back and forth you'll ever see in your life.
yeah,
I
truly,
love.
truly great boxing. So he
Oh
chimed in already, and they had shown me a ticket stub from a fight with Tito and Roy Jones. So that was just a great experience talking with him, and obviously speaking with our friend Mark Reyes and the level he's been able to get to in the sport.
yeah,
You've
I got to
gone
see a little bit of you and Mark and his kids come on. That was cute. Yeah, I saw that.
definitely, and just you've seen all those stages from Arturo Gatti's young age as a fighter, and your transition to an amateur, then getting through the pro circuit and moving up different promotions, and people have to understand that in MMA it's a little bit different. There's multiple promotions. If you want to talk to us, obviously you discussed your introduction into the mixed martial arts world, your transition as an amateur. Did you have a vast amateur career? Was it shorter? Can you talk about that a little bit?
You know, back when I started MMA 15 years ago as a pro, there really was no such thing as amateur MMA.
Okay.
Amateur MMA promoter was just too cheap to pay, honestly.
Mm,
That's
okay.
what it was. Like, if you were ready to fight and put yourself out there and risk the type of injury that you do in a professional mixed martial arts fight, you were ready to go pro.
It
Like,
was
back
just
then,
off the
there was
bat.
no such thing as amateur, really. I think back east, like, there was a little bit more, like, amateur shows and more organized type stuff going on out there.
Right.
But, there wasn't even weight classes when I started fighting.
Yeah, I remember in talking with Gabriel in his career as well, and just saying how they're really, and it's a solid point you made there, going 15, 20 years back, there is no amateur career. So it's good that you shared that. A lot of people don't even realize that. You've been in the game so long, you have a vast
Yeah.
experience, and I'm glad, that we've chimed in on that, because that's something that a lot of people take for granted now. They're very lucky, and the sport has grown so much that you are in a position where you're basically your sparring, your training prior to a professional fight is what you get in your gym, and essentially that would be it. There's no
Yeah.
other pre-step. You're going right into the gauntlet. So,
Oh yeah, definitely. And you know, like looking back, oh, I definitely wish that I did have the opportunity to have an amateur career, but it just wasn't
yeah.
there. Like an amateur career for you back then was going to Grappler's Quest and competing in a grappling tournament and trying to like go as high as you can in the grappling circuit. You know, that was like
Wow.
as much as you could get, and maybe doing some smokers, and if you were lucky, getting maybe a kickboxing match, some kind of a
Mm.
smoker. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
that,
funny you
that
say
was about
smoker. A lot of people don't even know what that term is. Mike Tyson talks a lot about it in his book.
oh
Great book, by the way, and really it discusses what those types of fights are. And you don't see those anymore. But
no,
it's funny that you chimed in on that as well. So two solid.
I'm showing my age.
Yeah, you don't look your age though. That's a good start.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So your pro debut was 2007. Is that correct?
Well, I think it was 2006, I believe.
Okay, so Tia Castillo, pro debut.
Yes. Was it
Okay,
2007?
that's 2007. As far
Oh,
as
okay.
what's on paper. So
Okay.
it's been a long time. You've been in the game so long.
Yeah.
So
Oh my gosh. I don't even remember everybody I faced, to be honest.
yeah, there's been many.
Yeah.
Do you recall that experience, your first pro fight, and what
Most
kind of before,
definitely.
during, and after? If you want to share with us your experience.
Um. So that was cool. I had Floyd and I had Joey there, who were my coaches since I was a kid. Um. It was for Gladiators Challenge, which was like an off-brand of King of the Cage. Dan Severn was the main event. He's a legend in the sport.
Heard the name,
Uh,
correct? Yeah.
yeah, he's such a legend in the sport. Kudos to you, man. He's huge. He's a legend for us. I just get very reminiscent when I start to think of Dan Severn. But anyways, I had that fight. I was the only female fight on the card. I had been wanting to fight for a long time. My coach didn't think I was quite ready yet, but then he ended up some high level people came to my gym and ended up really doing very well, beating them. So he was like,
Wow.
"You're ready." And the fight was at 125, which was me cutting 20 pounds at the weight. It's great at the time. I was like 145 pounds just walking around, thinking I was
Wow.
in good shape. Yeah. I was a lot more bulkier. I did a lot of weights back then. I mean, I ended up getting ready for the fight. It was always a dream of mine to be a professional fighter. And I was actually going to school to be, I wanted to either be like a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant.
Oh, wow.
And then I ended up transitioning into being a firefighter. But the point is, I was going into school more. And I had to either decide do I want to pursue fighting or do I pursue my degree? And pursue the medical field that I was wanting to go after.
Wow.
And I decided, it's a bit unconventional. And right now, looking back, academia is really a lot about money, But I decided that as a fighter, you don't have a lot of time. You have a very short shelf life. So I decided I can always go back to school. I'm going to fight when my body allows. So I decided to just throw caution to the wind, and I decided to fight for a living.
Wow. Wow. So you're at a major crossroads at a young age, and you made the choice to pursue your passion, which a lot of people don't have. They're very fearful of taking. That's a big chance, especially back then. So
Yeah, I like to gamble.
yeah, I always tell anybody, once you hear the cage close, once you hear the click, that's a sound that not many people ever want to hear or will even have and being
Yeah.
around the sport, I'm telling you, when you hear
It's a
the cage
great,
click, it's fun,
yeah,
but then it's not.
it's different. I like that, I feel blessed that I get to have those types of emotions, to have such a roller coaster of such a high and such a low and such a weird fear that just like a weird thing you get in a locker room like last minute, like what am I doing? What have I signed up for? Why am I doing this sport? Like you have those silly little thoughts in your head. You really do. I remember one guy backstage at a King of the Cage fight. Actually, those are pretty like local silly shows.
I've
They got
seen
good
all
rules
of
planned out. This guy was like, Coach, I can't see. I can't see. I can't see. He was like so nervous and so freaked out. Like he started to lose his vision.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it's a crazy, crazy roller coaster of emotions. And I've tried to like I've tried to kind of compare what other sport would be close, and like only other thing I could imagine would maybe be bull riding, because like you
Okay.
go in there, right, and that's like a life and death. For us, it is too, although we're quite prepared. But I mean, even though you tell yourself, and I've gotten pro at trying to turn nerves into excitement, because I believe every emotion comes from fear or love, and you have the
Hmm.
same like the same side effects from being afraid of something and excited. Like your stomach's got the butterflies, maybe your palms are sweaty. You have to pee a lot. I'm sure you know that as commissioner. You have to stand there with these people. You have to walk every time they go pee a lot, where
Yeah.
you get nervous.
Oh
But
yeah.
if that was happening to my first fight, I had a huge adrenaline dump, because you don't know what you're walking into your first fight.
Yeah.
But if you try to like switch it in your brain a little and say, I'm so excited, I'm so excited, you won't have as big of an adrenaline dump. So
Mm.
it's just like a little bit of a brain trick that you do.
Eh,
And it really, really works. It really works.
Yeah, a lot of fighters I hear they meditate or they try to envision the fight prior to the actual fight happening. They sit
Oh,
there, they'll meditate on it, and they kind of see themselves in the fight. And
you
that's
have
you
to.
hear that constantly. You hear that constantly from
No, you
fighters,
have to. You go
and
there
I
in the
think it's
mind.
essential.
No, yeah, you go there in the mind, and you go there in the body. That's like fighting 101, any kind of an athlete. Like I even remember actually not thinking about it, because you're a kid and maybe you hear that and you think it's kind of silly,
Yeah.
but remember Cool Runnings? They would
Yes,
back
one of my
up and do all
all-time
that.
favorites. Yeah,
It's the same thing.
that's a great analogy. I didn't even think about that, and that's I
Yeah,
have that movie, so a lot of our younger viewers have never seen
I would love to watch that
it.
movie again. Oh my god, now I
I'm
have to
gonna bring
watch
it
it.
to the gym for you when I'm there.
Yeah,
When I'm there again, I'll bring it over for you. Yeah, I
whichever one.
have.
I'm
Yeah.
building this. I'm building this house. I have this property, as you've seen, and I'm building that
Yep.
um, fourth story rooftop area, and I want to make it like a rooftop jiu-jitsu area.
Yeah.
But I envision having like some cool movie nights and like some
Yeah.
cool stuff. Watching some
A heck of a
Bloodsport,
view.
watching some old school. Huh?
A heck of a view. I'm sorry I cut you off there. A heck of
No,
a
go
view
ahead.
you have. The view up there. I've been up there obviously in your house, and I've seen the view, and I'm looking forward to seeing that completed project. So, um,
And this coronavirus, I got the construction stopped.
yeah.
But everything happens for a reason, and um, I'm very optimistic. I'm so optimistic. Sometimes it sickens people.
Between you and Gabriel, I would say you guys are some of the most optimistic people and most positive people. You guys should be very proud of yourself. And that's really a great character trait that you guys have. You're very positive people. You've been in this game for a long time. It's not a game, as we say; it's a sport, and you guys have been
You gotta
in
know
the
how to. So many politics, though, right? And so many things that
yeah.
you have to dodge. And I'm like the guinea pig of women's MMA. I was like one of the first.
Yes, and like we've talked about, there was no essentially amateur career. The weight classes they weren't there. The money definitely wasn't there. It's just getting there now, and that's how many years ago? We're talking 13 years ago since you
Yeah,
made your pro debut. And
yeah.
really, speaking of that, I'd like to ask you, just fighting for different promotions over the years, that takes a toll on you as well.
Oh yeah, and you know what though? You know what? I do have really good experience on how to not be a one and done promotion. Like I've seen all the mistakes, and I've seen and I've had a lot of people contacting me about wanting to join forces and start some type of an MMA promotion. And
Mm,
I just haven't been able to have the time to do that in my life, especially because I was trying to go to the Olympics and being on the national team and all that. I walked away from fighting, and I made it on the 2019 Olympic team for Puerto Rico for freestyle wrestling. So I walked away from a lot of offers and things like that. But yeah, and back in the day, it was like that. It was a lot of one and done promotions, a lot of mistakes, a lot of fighters putting their lives on the line. I mean, it's still even happening now. I've actually
yeah,
got some stem cells, and then I got some brain imaging done, and some of the best brain imaging. This guy did that. He does NFL guys after they die. He does all of that stuff, and now
right.
they're able to see CTE before dying. They're able to manage that now, and
Wow.
I'm actually going to be part of a clinical trial where they're going to be injecting stem cells into my artery to go into the thecal barrier into my brain, which is
Wow.
the best way to get stem cells into your brain and to rebuild brain cells. So like 3% of it that goes into your IV, like the normal treatment, well,
Wow.
3% of the cells, which is like 15 million per cc, will go into your brain and recreate brain cells. So they're studying me, but everything got put on hold because of this coronavirus. But the thing is we've got this new imaging and this new brain mapping. In this brain mapping, they can see any kind of damage that's been done. They can talk of addiction, physical damage, obviously, different types of physical
Wow.
damage. PTSD, they can recognize it and see it, and they can start to help PTSD with stem cells. And one of the most interesting things is the worst type of trauma that a brain can go through is a sexual assault, right? So they can actually measure that and see that with this new scans. My point is we are starting to find some really good stuff through the research of what the stem cells do in building the brain and healing traumatic brain injury, even starting to recognize what CTE looks like in the imaging.
Wow.
We can't manage what we don't measure. So how do we know what was going on? So I have TBH. They did the brain mapping with me. And I got to get with the neuroradiologists and talk more about my results.
Wow.
Nothing bad to where I can't fight again. Actually, very normal. Like if you look at a brain scan of a fighter and a person who's not been a fighter or been some kind of like an athlete, because even being a jockey causes a lot of brain damage. Somebody who rides on a lot of jet skis causes a lot of brain damage. They did this. So they actually read it a little differently because you see the brain damage in it.
Okay.
But we're seeing, like I said, we're seeing a lot of stuff with the stem cells and putting it into the brains. And so soon we're going to be working. We're working with the NFL already. Some of these big names in the NFL out of Dallas, Texas, and we're going to be making these centers like what the UFC has, but implementing these types of really good treatments and the best types of surgery centers and the best types of things so the athletes have a longer life. So if you get to see what is the damage that's happening to your athlete, and you can see that you can keep your athlete going. Like Nico, my friend, you'll have on her. They did some stem cells on her, and she has a second degree LCL tear, and she's back
Wow.
to training, doing everything great because of
Wow.
that. Yeah, I mean, there's hundreds of stories that I could tell you like that because of these stem cells, and so that's something really big that I'm a really big advocate for because we
Proponent.
take
Yeah.
so much damage.
A lot, and obviously you having a very long career, you're beyond what most people, you're still at your age, you're even beyond what most people last in the sport. I mean, you put 13 years in. I don't know the average career length of a mixed martial artist. I couldn't toss that out of my head, but I
Actually,
can't.
there's some that go for a long time. Like, I mean, if we look at
Yeah,
Nico or we look at Vitor, I mean, I think those guys kind of have some supplements. But hey, I'm getting something all natural. So, I mean, that stuff boosts your testosterone. I mean, that stuff is like a miracle worker for me. So I was recently, hurt really bad and bedridden. And I really believe a lot of it was the stress that I put my body under getting onto the national team. I even competed at the Dave Schultz tournament at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. And I
wow,
really think that might have been what put me where my back was. Maybe old injury, degeneration over the years. And
yes,
so it was really quite sad for me to have worked that hard and then not be able to try to compete and go to the Pan Ams. Like, I was able to go to the Pan Ams. And the woman who ended up going to the Pan Ams in my place didn't make weight. She went all the way to
oh wow,
Barranquilla and didn't make weight, all the way to Colombia. I
wow,
was so like, upset, but then I
that's
knew, like,
frustrating.
yeah, and I knew from my injuries before and everything that I've been through in life, the loss, my mother, my fiance, breaking my back, being I've actually had a really bad brain injury from a car accident, and my last thing with my back and being in the hospital, almost dying with that. I always know that there's like a reason, there's something that you have to look forward to for everything, and it was really hard telling myself these last few months before I got these stem cells. What is there to look forward to? I was just stuck. I couldn't really move much. I was in bed, having to be on pills like nerve gabapentin for the rest of my life. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I really believed like it all happened because of to find these stem cells. And I feel like I can really be a vehicle for a lot of people to get treatments. And when we're trying to, and actually it's being pushed through. There's a lot of stuff being pushed through the clinical trials for this COVID and stem cells. There's actually was proof like
Wow.
9 patients treated in China were all cured of it. I mean, we can't say cure. Actually, I get in trouble for that. FDA will come down our butts if we say cure. But therapy, treated, and they had great results. That's all I
Okay.
know.
It's very
Um,
interesting stuff. Very interesting.
yeah. So I feel like, everything happens to people for a reason, like I was saying. And honestly, I feel like I've actually partnered with this company. At first, I was kind of just an ambassador, but now I believe in it so much, and I've seen there's not a story that I'm not amazed by. So I partnered with them. I'm bringing mobile clinics all over the U.S. for way cheaper. The scientist is like the same guy who built all the Panama Institutes. I feel like he's in the lab every week, and we're like creating different protocols, which I think are a lot better, seeing a lot better results than having to go to Panama and they like harvest your stem cells. These we don't have to match DNA. It comes from the umbilical cord. We pull the DNA, the RNA out. There's no matching. Anybody can take it. And I just feel like
Wow.
with that stem cells, I'm going to be able to fight again, and
Wow.
really soon.
Wow. So literally going, and we're going to transition here into what transpired a year ago. You essentially have a second career now, with the ability to, with the stem cells and this opportunity is going to lead to you getting back in the octagon and being able to essentially start a second career, even throughout having a storied career already. You're having another second career. And it's funny, you see some of these fighters, they never get that chance.
No, well, now maybe they can with stem cells, and that's like one of these things that I'm very passionate about. Like I know some fighters who have gone down to Panama and spent so much money to get this stuff done, or I mean, it'll just breathe a new life into a lot of these athletes, and it keeps like I mean, I hope that one day the UFC will implement some kind of a treatment for all the athletes so they can heal and they can come back. I mean, they need their athletes healthy, so it's a no-brainer. Really, they would be really bad if they're not to want their health athletes having the best type of treatments for their brains and their
Right.
bodies.
And
So yeah, I really believe in it. I'm taking my rehabbing. I'm kind of having a rehab again. I was stuck in bed for 5 months, so I feel like I could go in there and do everything right now, but they're not magic, and I have to give them time to let my body heal.
okay. And as we talk about that, and you talk about the UFC, and obviously you were in the UFC at one point, you moved on to other promotions now. But I constantly hear, we're bringing a PI to Puerto Rico, we're bringing a PI to Puerto Rico. I've been hearing that for a few years from Mr. White. We're not going to bash him per se. But if that opportunity did come up, the PI does show up in Puerto Rico one day, which we would hope. Is that something you'd want to be involved with?
Actually, I'm really close with Dana. I haven't
Okay.
messaged him. I need to message him, ask him what's up with the PI. I put
Yeah.
the bug in his ear about the Act 22 and the stuff going on.
Yeah.
I should probably message him and ask him what's going on with that, because I know Heather. I was at the PI like in February, and I know that Heather was saying that they haven't mentioned it again. So the thing about in Puerto Rico, the reason MMA hasn't come here is they really protect boxing here. And if you want to come do an MMA show, you have to co-promote with a boxing promoter, which he did that supposedly with Peter Rivera. So
Okay.
I'm not sure, and supposedly the property was bought. So
Correct.
I'm gonna
That's what I've
check on.
heard. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. And I would,
I'm gonna check on that.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna ask
definitely.
him.
And
I call Dana Big Papa. It's like a joke from going on the show. I really like Dana. I mean, you may not agree with everything he does, but he's actually a really, really good person.
Interesting, interesting. I think people see a different sides of him. You've obviously worked in the promotion. Obviously, we're on the Ultimate Fighter. Now, I'm looking. You were in two different seasons. There was season 20 and season 21. Is
No,
that
no, I'm only
correct?
in season 20, and then I was on some
Okay.
other reality show that went under before it got a bunch of legal
Okay.
problems, and then the network didn't want to touch it.
Okay.
That was like before the UFC. No, I was only in the one real in
And
the one.
that's season 20, correct?
Yeah, season 20, which was the first season they allowed a full cast of women for the 115 pounds.
Wow.
So they casted a bunch of already known MMA fighters. Besides Angela Hill, I think she had only had like one fight. She's done really well. I'm proud of her.
Yeah, I met her in Tampa at the show we did where Michelle fought Joanna, and that was actually the main event. So
I love Michelle. She's great people too. She was one of the girls way back in Jackson's when I used to be there before I broke my back.
wow.
Yeah, Michelle's good people. Her and her
Yeah.
family.
Very nice people. So you want to talk about your Ultimate Fighter experience? I think people have to understand, as we see in the background here, getting to the level you obtained and getting there. It's not even just about getting there, but it's actually getting in those fights and competing. And a lot of people don't understand how tough it is to get there. I'd like to hear your share about your experiences in the Ultimate Fighter and fighting in the UFC.
So yeah, it is. It's very definitely, it's very hard getting there. Of course, in anywhere in the world, in the top of anything in the world, it's always going to be competitive and really hard to get there. And interesting enough, I was able to get there with like a really bad deficit. I have a really bad type of anemia that I barely got taken care of during the hurricane, in which I had my last fight in the UFC. Um, Actually, and that was, I was a lot weaker than my opponent. I lost a lot of weight in the hurricane. I wasn't able
Mm.
to eat as much at all. It was really bad. But I have a really bad type of anemia where I have to get blood transfusions and iron infusions all the
Wow.
time. Especially before I fight, I get my levels checked, and I'm in the hematologist a few days a week just to prepare for a fight. So before I would get to a point in a fight where I was doing good, if I didn't win in the first round, round and a half, I would gas out. And I could never figure it out because I was
Wow.
everything perfect, and nothing would give. I couldn't understand what was going on, and then it was actually being with the UFC and getting my blood work done, and Jeff Novinsky was the one who started pointing this stuff out. So then I went to a hematologist who looked deeper into my blood, into like my iron stores and all these cool different levels that they look into. No, my dog's here. Sorry.
Yeah,
You know
no
Nala.
problem.
Um, and so I discovered that, and all of a sudden, well, what happened here? I was getting ready for the UFC, and I started like doing road work and running, and I would cry. I couldn't like, oh my, one tear. I was like hurt, and I knew something was wrong. And then
Hmm.
Novinsky, he saw my blood levels and like kind of clued me up, and then I was able to find a doctor, which was really incredible because it was during the hurricane, and there was like no doctors on the island. And we had that huge ship that just landed in New York, the USS in Comfort. They were here, and they were
Wow.
the ones who were able to like tell me what was going on with me. And I was able to, without a referral, go see a hematologist. I was able to just walk in without because
Wow.
all the computers were down for the island. So I was able to walk right into a hematologist and be seen without a referral or anything. It was crazy how it worked out.
Yeah.
So I've been getting treated with that, and I went from running like 9 minute mile to a 6 minute mile in a couple of weeks. So
Wow.
it was crazy. So it was as if for me it was like as if I got to go. So all of a sudden my brain starts working better. My brain starts working clear. The stem cells have done that even more. Um,
Wow.
it starts working better. Starts working clear. I'm able to train. I have this new body, and so I feel like wow, I feel like as if we were able to go back to high school at this point and have all that knowledge and everything, and it's just like this restart, and that's how I really felt like.
Yeah.
So that's why I joined like the team, the Olympic team. I was like, wow, I can do this. Like I have this
Yeah.
new, fresh feeling. Like this is something I've never had. I've never been able to use my body. All of a sudden, I went to like use your cardio. Nobody was able to ever say that. I had cardio for a moment, but I just didn't have my body didn't have enough oxygen because
Wow.
yeah, so it really saddens me that I wasn't able to know that a lot longer and my age now, and then even the way the Olympics has worked out for the like my dream was to get on the national team, and then I made that and I was like I want to go to um, Pan Am's and I want to qualify for the Olympics, and then I was really upset about that. I wasn't able to do any of that, and then I mean just I couldn't imagine if I did all of that and walked away from fighting for so long, and look what happens with this Olympics. You know, I mean everything just you can't be upset for when bad things happen. You got to figure out what else there is to look at.
And you've taken a lot of hits and bumps, and you've still taken some positives. Some positive, really, you've kept that mindset and gotten very positive results out of even, like you said, with the hurricane, your health, and then being able to find this information out. The UFC helping, and then you being able to continue to move forward even with the setbacks. And we're talking about multiple setbacks here. And if you want to really share with us after the Ryzen fight experience, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, fighting for Ryzen, shortly after that, you were set up to compete in Combate Americas.
So,
And
yeah,
go ahead.
Combate. I love Combate Americas. They reached out to me. They wanted to sign me, but um, The UFC. So I wanted to wrestle, but the UFC wouldn't let me wrestle, be on the national team, and be with them. So I wasn't able to do that. And then when I got caught with the UFC, immediately I was like, all right, I'm going to wrestle. I'm going to try this out.
Yeah.
So they were the ones that allowed me. Oh, so Ryzen wanted to sign with me, and I was like, no, because I want to do this. So I walked away from opportunities. Some other people wanting me to fight, but I was like, I want to wrestle. Bryson was the one who, Combati were the ones who like, yeah, we'll work with you. You can wrestle. You can do whatever you want. Fight for us. Just give us 6 weeks. So that happened. And then I got an injury in my back. I got injured. And then they were like, oh, we can do the shots into your back. Well, that made that just blew everything up, made everything go bad. I ended up in the hospital getting disc surgery. They thought that I had cauda equina. It was horrible. And then I didn't wake up from the anesthesia, so they thought I was going to die. This was a year ago today.
Yep.
I woke up.
The irony in that, right? Thank God you're here and you're able to share with us, even during a pandemic. You're able to share that. A year ago today, you woke up from being unconscious for 2 days in a coma.
Yeah.
I mean, that's astonishing.
I don't even it's weird because I've known people who have had like organ transplants and had to be in a coma for a while, and then I've read a lot about near-death experiences and other people in coma, and they were able to hear and were aware of stuff around them. I don't remember anything. And then I guess waking up out of it for a week, I don't know. I was a horrible person. I think a lot of it too was the painkillers they had me on, maybe a different weird I was horrible even for a week after my surgery. I don't know if it was in my system. They say it's not supposed to be, but there was a lot of stuff I don't remember. I was really mean to the people around me. I was horrible to the nurses. Some of the nurses have been there like 40 years and they've never seen somebody so combative. Like, I guess they were wheeling me away and I was like trying to punch everybody. It's like everybody around me, I was trying to fight. I was trying to hit everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. I don't remember any of it.
Wow. Well, we're thankful that you're here.
Yeah, well, I remember there's a video of me being afraid of going into surgery saying, can I not wake up? I literally predicted. So I believe maybe it was me just being angry about what happened in my subconscious. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just a stupid bitch when I'm in that state. I don't know.
Well, we're glad you're here. Like we said, that's super scary stuff. A lot of us go through trials and tribulations. You've had many, and you've taken the positive every time. We always learn from something, right? Even if it's a negative, you learn. If it's a positive, you learn, and you continue to push forward no matter what. And I'm so glad to hear that with the stem cell and you learning even more about your health and turning that into wealth and moving forward with your career. I think that's amazing. So,
yeah, I'm excited to heal and excited for the world to like see how things are going to evolve in the world, and hopefully we all get back to the athletes get back to their stuff, the people who are self-employed, the small gig workers, everybody. I mean, kids back to school, whatever.
Yeah, very tough times, but we're going to continue to press forward as a team continues to move forward and try to continue to challenge and get better as a team. You have a gym. You and Gabriel own the gym, and really, before we talk about the gym per se, as you can see the pictures in the background, talk about the Ryzen experience. I think a lot of people don't understand going to the other side of the world and fighting. We see what happens in the UFC. We see what happens on local shows. Now we're talking about another, and you talked about the Olympic trials and stuff like that. Talk about your experience fighting for the UFC of Japan, essentially, in Ryzen.
Yeah, so Ryzen is actually the old Pride, old school fighting company that a lot of people enjoyed. And over there, they have different rules even. So to train for the fight was different. Like, they're allowed to kick you in the face when you're down. Like, if you're down on the ground, they can just soccer kick you. You can be trying to get up, they can just kick you in the face.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a bit different training to actually have to prepare. And I actually found myself in that situation, and I did very well. But, oh man, Japan, they're very, very proper, and I think they take a lot of pride in that. They're very proper, very everything. It was a great experience. I had one little hiccup when they sent me my stuff for my visa. We thought there was like a Japanese embassy here, and there wasn't. So like, there's always something, deals in like visas, and when you have to work in another country, they don't want you just going to the country and making money without paying a tax.
Okay.
So you have to get your work visa. So that was a little bit of a weird. There's always things that happen before a fight. Always some drama. Always something. Your uniform or your opponent pulls out, or
Yep.
something. I mean, look what just happened with the UFC. There's always something that can happen.
Yep.
So you just gotta kind of always know that. But I mean, I loved the experience. I took a couple extra days afterwards and stayed. The Japanese fans and the way they score is interesting. And it's not like each round. I like to think of it as like a video game when you have your health bar.
Yeah.
And at the end of the fight, whoever has the most health bar not damaged is the one who wins. Really, it's not by round. It's like accumulative through the whole fight is how it
Interesting.
yeah.
It's very
And
interesting.
then also, the person who loses, they love you just as much as the person who wins. It's just they love the fact that you go out there and you're a warrior. They respect the warrior spirit. So just as much as sometimes they like the loser more than the winner. It's interesting.
Yeah, I've noticed also just watching boxing in other countries as well. It's a major part of it. You see, if you competed and you went in there and you tried your best, the fans will respect you no matter the result. And we don't see that enough here, unfortunately.
No.
In the UFC or in other promotions, a guy gets knocked out or goes down. It's part of the sport. It's going to happen. But if it was, if you're 10 seconds in, that's one thing. But if it's the third or fourth round, we have to understand, like you said, these are everybody that gets in that cage, who gets to that level, you're a warrior. I don't care. You're not a
Yeah.
bum. You're not a scrub. And I think a lot of times people overlook that. We need to show respect to the loser. And, you go on to the next fight.
Yeah, well, and I don't even know what's been. I think it's been I haven't won a fight in like 7 fights, 6, 7 years, something like crazy like that. I mean, MMA. I've won a lot of wrestling matches. I won 16 kickboxing, Muay Thai kickboxing matches, professional. I've had a lot of other wins and a lot of other successes, but I feel like I just can't wait to compete again. I can't wait to get in combate. The girl that I faced was the best fighter out of Japan. She actually beat the current gold medalist in the women's wrestling in my division, the best woman in the world. She's a very good wrestler. Super sweet girl. It was a great experience, even though I didn't win. It was, it's not the journey. I've won fights. I've won belts. I've been champion. I've been
Right.
number one in the U.S. I've been number one in the world. I've been there and I've done all that, and nothing. It doesn't change when you have that belt. When you go home, nothing changes. And so I've learned to really enjoy the path, the journey. They say, it's not the destination, it's the journey. Even with Ford, it's not the bang, it's the climax.
Wow.
So that's what really counts, and I've really learned to appreciate and enjoy the journey. And I've just gotten so many beautiful life experiences. I mean, look, I've met you. I mean, just like living here, I get to have these experiences. And fighting got me here. I never even got on a plane. I'm a poor kid from the streets. Like, I ate on trash cans. I come from a town of the complete impoverished and drug-ridden town. And the first time I ever got on a plane was to go to a fight.
Wow.
I've been able to. I've moved my daughter across the world. I've been able to move her here. We've lived in Thailand. I've been able to do so much, and actually, I have a nonprofit where I haven't been able to do much with it lately. But the dream of it is to be able to provide that for somebody. My coach gave that to me. I was able to train for free, and we actually train children here for free. All children can train for free under 18. That's part of the nonprofit vision. So if I could just like I was able to do that, and there's so much opportunity nowadays. If I could even just provide that for one person, that's just such a reward for me.
That's amazing stuff to hear, and we know that you and Gabriel always have an open door. People need to understand in Puerto Rico, they can go to the gym, they can train, they can learn, whether it's mixed martial arts or boxing. Really, you guys, you're there for the community, and a lot of people. I hope that we continue to spread that message. And opportunity is everything, and it's a community.
For sure, and you know what? It's kind of funny. I have a kind of a funny sense of humor. Dry, I laugh a lot. But having a gym is intense. Dealing with all the different personalities and fighters. It's like having a mental hospital. Sometimes, really.
It's a good way to put it. Yeah.
It's a lot. But it's somewhere. It's a sanctuary. It's somewhere that people can come. Like for me, I knew no matter what, if I was a wayward kid, whatever happened in life, Floyd Sword, my coach, I always had an open door. I could always go back. And look what I've manifested with it. I mean, this place is because of him believing in me. So shout out, Floyd. Thank you. You love me. I always give him shit. I used to call him in the middle. Like all of us used to call him in the middle of the night just to wake him up and like telling each other when we go out and do stupid shit. It was bad. It was bad. Sometimes I would disagree with him, even though I would honestly agree with him, just to piss him off and like start a little fight.
Yeah. And
Like,
sometimes it just takes that one person to believe in us and move forward. And look what you've created. Speaking of the gym, obviously you and Gabriel operate the gym. I've been there. What an experience. What a family atmosphere. If you want to talk about your transition, not only as a professional fighter, but essentially in training other young people and other professional athletes and amateurs as well. If you want to talk to us about La Perla Boxing and MMA Gym.
so honestly, Gabriel, my coach, my partner, I moved here because I want to be a training under him because he's got such an amazing eye. He's the best trainer in Puerto Rico in boxing. That's how I was introduced to him as and to go train with the best trainer in Puerto Rico from Coto's gym.
Mm-hmm.
So he is mainly the base coach. I still feel like for me, a lot of stuff come more naturally, like my different moves in jiu-jitsu or even in the ring. It's more natural for me. For him, things weren't always so natural. So he really had to dissect things, think about them. And a lot of times, why are people coaches? Because of the mere fact that they were good athletes. That doesn't make you a good coach. I have to a lot of times stop and be like, oh, okay, this is how I did it. You just kind of naturally do it. So I think the people who weren't necessarily naturally the best athletes, but had to work harder, had to study it more. And he just has so much experience, thousands of corners of boxing. He's a genius when it comes, and he loves MMA. That's his passion, and jiu-jitsu is his passion. He's had hundreds of kickboxing matches himself. So he's just got so much experience on both sides of it. So I coach a lot, but I'm not like, it's not, I'm not scheduled to do classes. I jump in, I coach, and I don't like to like pay to get paid to kind of coach. I like to do it because I want to share something. I want to give. You know, I'm not doing it. Even when I used to coach at the junior high for wrestling, I didn't even want to get paid. I did it. I mean, I walked away from other paid jobs to just be able to give that back. So, yes, I want to coach more, and I do a lot of coaching. I really do, and I do a lot of one-on-one, obviously. But he's the main coach, and a guy named Juan Mercado. He's really good with the jiu-jitsu and the MMA, and I really look up to him. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I haven't met Juan, but I've just seen the pictures. I believe you guys posted a lot.
He's weird in pictures. You'll love him. He's a good guy.
Yeah. I look forward to meeting them in the near future.
But, I just want to say hello to everybody who's joined. Thank you, really.
Yes.
I've got some T-shirts behind me. I'm wearing one of our La Perla T-shirts.
Awesome. I have mine. I don't have it on today, but I have mine.
Huh?
I said I have mine. Sorry to cut you off. I have mine. I'm not wearing it right now, but I have the shirt, not the tank top. So
yeah, well,
definitely.
So those are available. We can ship them out. Also, I'm going to do a giveaway right now. So anybody who's watching, if you guys share it, like it, and send a proof of it to myself on my Your Majesty Magana or Team La Perla, I'm going to pick a winner in a couple days. And I'll send you guys one of our T-shirts. So thank you for watching, everybody. Hello. I can't be saying hello to everybody, but hey, Anthony, I do see you. DiLorenzo Anthony is one of my biggest sponsors. One of my biggest supporters for the years. But anyway, where we're going before that, sorry.
Oh, we were talking about the gym and your coach slash fighter slash mother. If we could talk now, obviously we discussed your amateur career that wasn't. You essentially went right into pro and learning the sport and then jumping right into the gauntlet, getting all the way to the Ultimate Fighter, fighting in the UFC, fighting in Ryzen, facing life and then death, literally. Now we want to know who Angela is outside of the ring, outside the octagon, excuse me.
I love to eat and cook.
Well, we also see you in the ocean every day. I think I'm pretty sure I'm texting or talking to you or Gabriel, and I think you're either fishing or cooking something that you caught.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
So what happens is where I live, as you know, it's kind of an interesting spot. a lot of people are quite ignorant to the spot, and won't even come into my neighborhood because of the history of the neighborhood. It has a
Yeah.
long history. The lepers of used to be here. They push them outside the castle walls, so you weren't allowed to come into the community. You were a leper. Then it was like a tuberculosis community, and a butcher, and so and there was a lot of crime before. So there's a lot of people who won't even come into my neighborhood. And then there was some violence with the cops and stuff, so the cops don't come here. They refuse to help us. Also, what happens is they don't come here. We have our own type of law.
Community police.
Ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we police ourselves. And it works. There's never crime. There's no violent crime. There's no rape. There's never violent. Even if you get mad at your neighbor, you can't do anything about it. Like, you have to talk about it and mediate it, you know. They literally make you do that here. So if the cops don't want to police you, they don't come down here and do anything else. So we go into the ocean, and honestly, how can you not? It's your front yard. You can hear it. It's literally right there. It's not.
Yep.
I guess like nobody's allowed to be on the beach, but when the beach is your front yard, then there's nothing they can do. So we've been able to go into the beach, fish, do a lot of spear fishing. Been doing some boogie board surfing. When the waves are too much to spearfish, do that. And it's cool because, so before I used to go to a different spot to spearfish and to play in the ocean, but, you know, necessity springs invention. So the ocean kind of calmed down a bit, and we've been able to find a lot of spots right in front of our house that, you know, when the ocean is a certain way, you can just jump in and be able to get out. So it's been kind of really interesting during this quarantine. I've been able to utilize my neighborhood a lot more and find a lot more spots.
Wow, that's amazing. And for those of you that haven't visited the gym or been even to the island, let me tell you, I hadn't been in so long. I'm now part of the team. I'm thankful you guys have always had open doors for me. And after meeting Gabriel years ago in the boxing world in Florida, what an experience. I think it's something that people truly need to go there, experience your gym, experience the island. And honestly, I told myself I would live there one day. It could happen. We'll see.
Easy. Oh yeah.
I think it's one of those places that's just beautiful, and it never gets old. So for those of you watching, and like I said, if you guys want to chime in and ask any questions for Angela, please do. As we continue to learn about her and what she does outside of the ring. Now, I've seen a lot of sea glass. Is that something? Are you gonna do some art from this sea glass that you collect? I've seen a lot.
Yeah. I do. I have made some art. I just gotta get some frames. It's fun to make the art. My favorite part, honestly, is collecting it. It's really cool, the history, and it's made me learn a lot of history about the place. Like, there's some black bottles that are like pirate glass that are from the 1700s. I mean, they're 1600s, some stuff from the 1600s, and then I find fossils, and there's just so much cool stuff to discover. I get so angry at the kids, and they're like, "There's nothing to do." I'm like, "What? I got to play in Deer Hills. Don't tell me there's nothing. There's a cemetery. There's ocean. There's fossils. There's just so many different oceans. There's waves. There's boogie boarding. There's like, I hate when the kids tell me that crap.
Yeah. They're used to the video games and the cell phone.
Oh no, mine do not do that.
Yeah, not yours. Most kids though, unfortunately.
They don't get nothing. They get nothing.
That's good.
I don't allow that shit.
Yeah. Well, in your front yard's the ocean.
I don't allow kids to be on that in my gym either.
That's good. Stay focused, right?
Yeah.
So also speaking about, the ocean and what you do outside of the octagon, talk to us about your love for animals, obviously like dogs, your recent adoption, so to say.
So
you want to talk to us about that?
It's very interesting. There was a lady that during the last tragedy of the island hurricane, I was made aware of. And I knew a lady in Thailand who had a dog sanctuary at a Thai temple. She has hundreds of dogs, almost 200 dogs now. Wow. She helps. And then so I found out there was another lady here like that. Well, this lady, she actually just lost her job, unfortunately, like a lot of people. But she spends her own money on renting an area, spends her own money on helping have people help her, spends her own money on gardening by fundraising, and takes care of nearly 200 dogs. So I decided to start volunteering, me and my family, and bringing other people along. And we're allowed to do this as essential workers because they have to have workers at dog and animal shelters.
Right.
So I went there and I just saw her doing so much with all these animals. I was like, if she could do this, there's something else. And I'm really good at training dogs. So I was like, I can do one dog, and I could get one dog, and if I could keep him for a month and train him like the ones that are the least adoptable, but train them to where they sit, they shake, they do tricks, they anybody's gonna want the dog. Because I've always had people offer me gross amounts of money for my dogs because of how well they're trained.
Yeah.
So I was like, give it a more opportunity. So like the one that I got, for instance, she has a deal in the States with certain shelters where they want to adopt a Sato, a mutt from Puerto Rico, and really help out. They feel really good about that. So, but they want to allow 30 pounds or more on certain airlines. So now we found somebody who allows more. Right now we can't fly any animals. But then they don't want anything that resembles even a pit bull. And people, I guess, don't like black dogs. So I took the oldest resident, who he was found as an adult, so ridden with pellets and BBs, he was like infected. He's got hundreds of them still in his body, I guess.
Wow.
But he'd been there for 4 years in this sanctuary, nearly 4 years, oldest resident. So I was like, I'll just take him, and I'll train him.
Yeah.
And try to give him an opportunity and push him through my social media. Maybe, let you know, and you can share him, and everybody that I can reach to share him, to give him an opportunity so I can get another one. Well, we took him in, and I guess I'm used to pit bulls, right? A lot of energy. And he's the most easiest dog. Like, he peed in the house once.
Okay.
He did in the bathroom. So weird, so funny. Yeah. So he's like already trained. I actually tested him. He went 16 hours without using the bathroom. I finally took him out. He doesn't eat a lot. He doesn't look for attention really. He's still kind of like, he's coming out of his shell more, obviously.
Okay.
But he's just so easy. So, and the kids really love him. So I decided to keep him. And then foster another one as soon as I move in the bigger space upstairs in my house.
That's amazing. So you've taken, as we review everything here, not only you in the ocean all the time, you're a mother, you're a fighter, you're a coach, and an animal activist. I mean, I don't know, you have many different hands in different pots. That's amazing. So.
And there's so much more shit I want to do. You know what I want to do now? I was messing around looking at boats the other day.
Yeah.
And I saw how cheap an airplane is, right? Well, I have a friend, she's a pilot here, and there's a way you can go. You can just like do your private license and go on her pilot, and then like a license. But I'm gonna mess around. It's like not even that expensive. Watch, I'm gonna get me a pilot's license.
You're gonna fly over the gym.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a plane. I'm gonna be like, hey, you want to go? Hey, you guys want to go to Santo Domingo? No, actually, I don't like Santo Domingo. One of the Virgin Islands, it's great American Virgin Islands. You don't have to pay taxes. You guys want to go for lunch? That's
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely. So if you want to talk to us, and we'll wrap up in a little bit, about your family life. Obviously, children, you have Gabriel, your partner. You want to share a little bit about your relationship as partners and also player coach, so to say.
Talk
about that dynamic.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I have my daughter. She's actually showing my age again. My daughter's going to be 18.
I'm sorry.
Beginning of June.
Wow.
No,
yeah.
Yeah. And I've adopted 2 other kids here. I have taken them in as my own. Gabriel and I we own the business. He's my coach and we're roommates. So I'm a mother of 3. Now I've got 2 dogs. Oh, and I have another dog that I fostered. This pit bull. People who followed me for a while kind of know who he is. His name's Tomas. He got out the other day, escaped from his house, and he's still in my house. This is the 5th day. I guess he wants to hang out and
stay a while.
Security, and I'm not gonna make him go back until they come get him.
Okay.
So and then honestly, I have my house, the property that I have, and it's like a little 3-bedroom. You've seen it, and just barely freaking. I just made it livable. Always working on it, living in construction. And then I have the property upstairs that I'm building a much bigger area space. And so like the bottom apartment, I think I'm going to try to rent it out as a fighter's apartment or something like that. Nico's supposed to come spend some time here.
Yeah.
Fighters are supposed to come spend time. Maybe we're thinking about, they have a fighter house here already, but it's way out in the mountains. And when they need to get the fighters to the fights, it's far away from the car, and there's no grocery store. So like here we have the gym right here, we have the grocery store, we have beautiful running.
So you're back again.
Hi.
I was telling all the followers and viewers, apparently 60 minutes or more on Instagram Live, they cut you off. I did not know that. So we learned so much about you today. Um,
And about
and
Instagram. No.
yes, we learned so much about your career, you facing death in the face, literally, what you have done outside of the octagon, and your community, what you do in your community, and it's truly astonishing all the different hands you have in various projects, and it's truly something to be very proud of. And I think also being part of the team, I wear the logo with pride, and I want you to know that. And I'm thankful for your time today. When we do our Sunday sit down series, it's really to get the fighters experience and share their experience and their life inside and outside of the ring or octagon. So, and wrapping that up, I would really like to ask you what I call our fast facts. So we'll finish on a more fun note, not
Really
so
quick
serious.
though, really quick.
Yes.
I want to thank you for all of your help and what you've done in coming out here and doing the shoe drive, and you're very organized. Yeah, we really appreciate all the help that you're giving us too. So thank you.
Always being part of the team, and we're going to do more. That's just the beginning, and I truly look forward to Team La Perla and boxing and MMA making a difference, especially in Puerto Rico, not only in La Perla, but throughout the whole island. And I look forward to continuing to do that once all this is over.
And really quick too, Revivacell is the company, the biologics company that
Yes.
I work with. Raquel Apodaca is the owner, an incredible lady. Maybe one day you can get her on talking about all the work she does with different MMA athletes, boxers. She works with a really famous boxer out of LA. I'm sure you probably know who he is. But,
I'm sure I would.
A lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah, definitely. We just had boxing playoffs from Tampa join us. That's awesome. How you guys doing? Hope
I
you guys
remember
are
her,
safe.
right?
Yeah.
Cute little girl. I was doing all the. She got a really sweet voice. She's nice. Hi.
Yep. So great people. Thank you for tuning in, and we as we wrap up, where's a place you would like to visit that you have yet to visit in the world?
I've been everywhere I want to go. I actually live where I want it, where like people come on vacation, so I don't have to ever leave. Honestly. And the way I usually travel is through fighting. So it's like hard for me to think about spending, because like for me now, I've done so much traveling. This sounds really bratty of me. I'm really pleased, but I've done so much traveling that it's not comfortable for me to travel anymore. I have to get in a suitcase, I have to figure out the dogs, the kids, the gym.
A lot to it.
Why would I go somewhere out? Like I have everything I need here. Like people come on vacation here. Why would I go anywhere else? And honestly, the main thing what happens when I do travel is food. That was my favorite thing doing. I walked for hours. All I did was eat. That's all I did in Japan.
Yeah.
That was like my favorite. And get a lot of massage and body work done. Ooh, I love that. I have a friend in India. A lot of people that I've actually known that travel like, don't do it. But I think if you know the right spot, obviously India would be cool. I definitely recommend East Asia to everybody. I love it. I like jungle Asia more than I like a fancy Asia than to like Hong Kong or like Japan.
Okay.
I guess one thing actually what I think would be cool, and maybe that fighting will take me there if I want it to, it'll happen, go there in the mind, you go there in the body. Africa would be kind of a cool one.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times from different fighters. Mark Reyes was big on that. He said he would like to visit Africa.
Yeah, it's not that far from Puerto Rico. It's actually, I think it takes less time to get there than it does back home where I live. I'm from. On the plane.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, Morocco's not that far. Africa's not that far from us here.
Yeah, it's interesting. So speaking about your travels and food, what is your favorite food?
Soy Mexicana. I'm Mexican. I guess Mexican food I really love. And the food, honestly, I love Puerto Rico except the food. Like the food's good. It's good. The rice, the beans, the
You're
pork,
telling the Puerto Rican you don't like the food.
I love so when I leave,
I'm kidding.
when I'm coming back, I have to have some mofongo. Like I love that kind of stuff. But the thing that I don't like is I love spice in my life. I have to put that on everything. Puerto Ricans do not like spice. That's so weird to me.
We put ketchup. We put the ketchup on everything.
It's like mayo ketchup. Mayo ketchup is a Caribbean salad dressing, I call it. That's what they use for salad dressing. It's
That's
ridiculous.
funny. That's funny.
No, I love it, and now it makes me feel like I'm at home and stuff when I come back for it. But I'd say Mexican food. I love Thai food too. I cook a lot of Thai food and Mexican food. It sucks here. I can't find any good Thai food or Mexican, so I just have to cook it all myself. And that's the first thing I do when I get into an airport. I try to find something that's all right Mexican or some Thai or they don't even what they don't have here, chicken fried steak. I like that sometimes. Like when I'm being real gluttonous, some chicken fried steak and gravy.
Yeah.
But they don't
So
have
you,
that here.
future restaurant owner. I see. I could see it in
No,
your
no,
future.
no. So I used
No.
to this lady that was like my Clancy's Pub out of Farmington, New Mexico. Great food, homemade. She's like my mom, and I helped run that business. I did the accounts. I hired
Wow.
people. I fired people. I did everything. There's no way you could pay me to want to run a restaurant. No, I don't want to deal with. I don't want employees. Number one, ever. I don't want a bunch of employees. And they got so many excuses, like dealing with a bunch of. It's like dealing with high school kids or something. Fighters are enough to deal with. I couldn't imagine a bunch of people in a restaurant.
Yeah, that's
No,
interesting that
if
you
I
say that.
did, I would do great. But I like again, I do it out of a passion. I do it to give the food away, to have people come over and cook for them, not to make money.
Understood. Understood. You big heart, big heart. We've learned a lot about you today. And wrapping
Don't
up,
call me, buddy.
um, something most people don't know about you. What would you think that would be?
mm, I guess maybe that you kind of know. You kind of touched on it. I love to collect sea glass. Oh, you touched on it, and I feel like that's such like an old lady thing to do. But I got all the kids into it, and we have a lot of fun doing it. I guess that. I guess that I have a big heart. I think a lot of people. I have a lot of fun online, and the way people come at me, I react like a little brat. So I think just the people maybe things that people would be surprised is all the community work that I do. Maybe.
Yeah, very involved with the community, very involved with the gym,
But I don't
and
even
what?
need to be. Like, it's not even like I'm trying to do it to. It's just what happens, you know. It's not like I'm like, oh, I want to do this, or it's just happens, you know. Just like it's kind of funny, right? When it takes other people's perspective sometimes to realize what we do, or even as a fighter, I've talked to many of my friends who are in the UFC. It's like, even though you see us athletes and we get to these highest pinnacles, even NFL players, and nothing
Right.
changes about us. It's a lot of times. It's the people around you that assume things change or assume. It's like,
Mm.
oh, UFC fighter, we don't care. Didn't change anything for us. Nothing changed for
Yeah,
us. It feel different for us. You know, um,
it's
it's not.
it's interesting you say that. And one of the most gracious, humble people I ever met in the fight world was Dustin Poirier. And that's somebody that I interacted with on multiple occasions in Florida at events, and we were doing small events. You wouldn't even know it was him. You wouldn't know that this guy was a top fighter in the world at the time. And it's funny that you say that. It's very true. I think it's a lot of people around you assume certain things, and most fighters stay true to themselves. Um, and you're definitely an example of that. So we truly appreciate your time and you
Thanks for
sharing.
the platform.
Yeah, no, it's really it's been fun, and we're so glad to be able to have you safe, healthy, you and Gabriel, and during this very difficult time. And I'll wrap up with this: what would you like to share with fans, friends, followers, and those viewing today? What would you like to share your message? What would you like to say to everyone?
Um, I guess right now my message usually always is if I could do it, you can do it. There's really nothing special about me that makes me any different. I like to kind of get that out there. Um, but right now, I think with the way that things are happening, I just really wish people would make really healthy decisions as far as exercise and food, because I feel like with this virus that's going around, it is a real virus. Whatever you think, you might have your conspiracy theories or whatever, but people are getting sick, and one of the biggest factors is not being healthy. So I would just really hope that people are eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. I might some mommy here, getting their
Yeah,
exercise, getting their vitamin D every day, so that and there's a reason why I eat healthy and I exercise, so that when things like this happen, I know I'm okay. And I just wish everybody the most health, and to try to stay as healthy as you can. Eat lots of like kiwis and fruits and lots of vegetables.
I like to promote to stay away from breads and grains. They're really kind of bad. They put your body in a state of inflammation, which is really bad for this virus right now. So I would just really wish that people make some really healthy decisions, and maybe this can be a wake-up call of why you need to be healthy and make healthy
Wow.
decisions.
Definitely. Your health is your wealth, right? They say that. And it's so
Or
important during these very difficult times. And we truly appreciate the opportunity to learn more about you, who Angela Magana is outside of the fighter that we've seen, you know. So we really appreciate your time. And like we said, we're so glad you and Gabriel and your family is healthy and safe. So we want to thank you so
yeah,
much for joining us on the Sunday Sit Down series. And I know we'll be talking to Nico here in the future, and I look forward to that opportunity as well. And
I'll see
learning.
if we can get Beck Rawlings too. She's a big name in MMA, bare knuckle boxing, and all of that.
Yes,
She's
yes,
one
and
of
I've
my
seen
best
her
friends.
fights in the
I would,
BKFC. That's amazing. So we look forward, and we want you guys to know that we're going to continue to give fighters the opportunity to share who they are, more than just fighters, and really share their message, who they are inside and outside of the octagon and ring. So thank you so much, Angela, for joining us. So glad to see you, and glad you're healthy, like we said,
thank
and
you.
and thank you, and we wish you blessings moving forward. And we're so glad you're here with us a year later after what you experienced. And it's truly a testament to the person you are as you remain positive. So,
All right, thank you. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you, everybody watching. Have a
all
good rest
right.
of the day.
And there it is. Angela Magana. Thank you. Take care.
You too.